friends. Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Today I want to kind of deviate from gaming a little bit and just talk about, I guess, life in general, the things that we look forward to in life. Now, gaming's a big part of my life, as movies are, and I've tried to divide my time up between my escape to gaming, and then once in a while I'll do, every once in a blue moon I'll do one of my escape to cinema deals, which I did recently, on my favorite 20 movies or whatever. So it's fun to kind of talk about the things that we like to talk about. And one of the things that, it's all inclusive. Part of this kind of involves gaming, and that's Industrial Light and Magic. Now, many of us, know that they're responsible. They're the giants of special effects. They're really the pioneers of much of what we take for granted today in the way of films and TV and movie production. And they make this movie magic of special effects, which is the hallmark of many of the great series we love, whether it's the Raiders of the Lost Ark or the Jurassic Park or the wonderful, Star Wars series. There's something magical about special effects and how it helps us to really get in deep and appreciate our favorite movies or our favorite games. And in LucasArts, not just the movies, but even their games. So I wanted to go to where the headquarters of LucasArts was. I read a very unfortunate article in Game Informer several months ago. I still have the magazine and the article. And it was really troubling about LucasArts and how great the studio was. And then overnight, they closed their doors. I don't know if it's because Disney acquired them and shut it down. I'm not sure all the details chronologically of what caused everything to happen, but sadly they've closed their doors. And many wonderful games, Star Wars games that we know and love, aren't being made, or not to the same degree. Now it's up to Disney to dictate what we're going to be getting in the future. Disney's even trying to kind of kill a lot of the studios up in Northern California where I live, and try to force them into LA, where the headquarters of Disney is. And many of those people are born and raised around George Lucas and Marin County, and that's kind of the area where they've called their home and made their home with their families and spent years developing Industrial Light and Magic and Skywalker Sound. So it's sad to see those things leave. And I don't know at what point ILM, if it's forever going to stay up in the Presidio in San Francisco, or if it was going to move. But one of the things that I've had, because I've had a lot of health problems the last year and a half, 18 months or so, serious internal problems, which I'm still really struggling with. I'm going through some problems now. I'm having to deal with the doctors and change, again, more lifestyle changes that I have to make because of these problems. I've had this, recent back surgery, so you realize how precious life is and how fragile it is. I took life for granted and lived very dangerously for many years, and I'm almost, wear it like a badge of honor. I'm almost proud of that, and spit in the face of death and danger and all this kind of stuff. And then when you get older, you realize how stupid it really is, and how easily I could have been snuffed out, in a moment's notice. So it kind of helps you to appreciate what we have in the way of movies and games and the little things in life. Having a good meal, being with a loved one, talking with your friends about something that you love or are passionate about, like gaming. And all of these things have kind of forced me to look at a bucket list. You've heard that term used a lot, including a movie that had, kind of Clint Eastwood and some other people. I haven't even seen that movie, but it looks interesting. I'll have to watch it one of these days. So I have my own bucket list, and I've actually achieved most of what's on that list. There's only a couple things left. One of them was to go to Hawaii, which every time we literally have the money to go, we're ready to go and make the plans, something happens with the house, the roof, $15,000 gone there. Or typically, we had to move once before buying this house. We had all the money set aside to go if something comes up. So the Hawaii thing is like one of the last expensive bucket list items. Most of them I've done. I've seen all the big cities in the U.S. I wanted to see. I've had pretty much all the cars that I've wanted. Naturally, you would always like to have the Ferrari and these extreme, exotic cars. But realistically, I've had most of what I wanted. I've been very happy with the history of cars that I've owned, places that I've lived around the United States, the wonderful vacations that I've had, wonderful meals that I've had, movies. I love my movie collection. I take it. I appreciate it every day. The same with my game collection. It means so much to me. But one of these bucket lists was to visit the roots of where it all began. Because, and I've mentioned this before, I'll have a link to it down below. I have a Star Wars retrospective when I talk about my love of Star Wars and how much I love the series. And all 6 films, including the prequels that are fashionably hated by quite a few. But I really appreciate George Lucas's involvement with special effects, even his involvement with Steven Spielberg, with the wonderful Raiders of the Lost Ark movies. And it's fascinating to see that because of what Lucas pushed for his own endeavors, Star Wars, we get better films for Titanic and The Abyss, and a lot of special effects have evolved and changed because of what George Lucas did. And then people, James Cameron and others would take them to the next level and try to push that industry forward. So one of the few things that's been on my bucket list was to go before it's gone, is to see the ILM headquarters while it's still there. George Lucas bought out much of the Presidio, which is the older military section of barracks and buildings from World War II that were built then in San Francisco, and he converted it down by the Palace of Fine Arts. Many of those buildings are now wonderful TV production studios, special effects development companies, Industrial Light and Magic headquarters. And so it's been on my mind to see this facility. And I saw recently a picture of George Miller out in front of ILM, in front of the Yoda statue, which I've seen so many times. I told my wife, I said, let's go to San Francisco this weekend. We'll have a nice breakfast and coffee. Later we'll have lunch in Sausalito across the bay. But let's go to Industrial Light and Magic. I realize I can't get in there. I just simply want to go and see as much as I can. Get as close to the facility as I can and try to see it for what it is. It's one of those few really big bucket list items that I've always wanted to do. I've pretty much lived and been there in all of the studios and Universal Studios and 20th Century Fox, which I was a subcontractor for, and actually had a plaque on my dash. I could drive in anytime I want to the 20th Century Fox studios and pretty much go anywhere in the facility I wanted to see what was being filmed and what was going on, and it was very fun. I love that. That's kind of one of my bucket list challenges that I had early on, that I wanted to work in the studios. I did that. I initially wanted to get into special effects and matte paintings and all that, and that aspect never worked out, but I can still appreciate and enjoy that work of others and how it's influenced my life and the lives of many of my friends. I know many of you love the same movies that I do, many of the same LucasArts games that I like as well, from the Star Wars The Force Unleashed to the older games like Republic Commando on the original Xbox, or especially games like Star Wars Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. Those are some of my favorite games. I'm anxious to play Jedi Academy. I haven't played it yet, but I finally acquired it for my collection. So I've been wanting to go to the stomping grounds of where it all began, and that's one thing that we set out to look for that. And it would have been easy if I had used I have GPS on my phone. I had a friend that showed me how to use it once, and I've never been able to figure it out again. So I still use the old maps and take notes and make a right on this street, make a left on this street, and then go here. And that works great until you hit a roadblock like a detour or road construction, and then you get screwed fast. So my wife and I spent probably 45 minutes lost trying to find specifically we're in the Presidio, because it's a good size area, where the Industrial Light and Magic is. And once we get there, the one day we decide to go, they repaved the entire outside of the facility. So the visitor parking that was once available for free, you now have to go and pay $5 for like an hour or so, which is fine. I said, that's fine. It'll be worth every penny. If it's $100, let's just pay it, be done with it. At least we've been here, and I'll have a chance to get out and look around and film some of it if possible. So we parked underground, then we had to walk, and then we had to even walk around the tape. They wouldn't even let us cut across the parking lot, so I had to go like a football field around all this taped off roadways and entryways to Industrial Light and Magic, but it was fun. The end we got there, I saw many other people enjoying the facility, just being in the presence of Industrial Light and Magic, having their pictures taken in front of the Yoda statue, this wonderful ambient sounds of the water splashing down, and it's just an iconic place, iconic image, and it really, truly was a very special moment I won't ever forget. After a few minutes of taking pictures by Yoda and some video, I tried to go up to the window and look inside the main lobby, and you can see there off to the right they have an Industrial Light and Magic sign on the wall. Because of all the glare in the glass, and it's a polarized glass at that, it's kind of hard to see through. My camera could only pick up bits and pieces of it. If I zoomed in a little bit, it was able to kind of cut through that glare and see what was going on. So I took a few, you'll see a little video here, and I'll have some static shots as well, showing some of what we were able to see. They had wonderful a statue of the guy, the father of stop motion animation, that was in the background in the very center. In the foreground was some wonderful Star Wars stormtroopers. Off to the side was, I think it was like they had a statue. I believe it's Boba Fett and Darth Vader, the original uniforms that were used in the film, as well as many other iconic movie props that were in the Star Wars films and some of the other Raiders of the Lost Ark and Jurassic Park and other movies. So just being able to film that even through the glass was wonderful. All of a sudden I see this fellow that worked there that was coming and unlocking the door, and I asked him, can we just stick my head inside with my camera just for a second and get a couple pictures? He said, I'm very sorry, I can't do it. It would cost me my job if I did it. So I had to respect that. Unfortunately, there's no tours of this place. It's very top secret. Naturally, they're trying to preserve all the secrets of what they're working on. They don't want spoilers and stuff like that, so it's understandable. There are a few videos on YouTube. I'll have linked below one video that's a short video. It gives a basic tour of it from the standpoint of an employee's perspective, and it's pretty interesting to see. That's pretty much the only way that he says that you're able to get in there and to see the facilities, which is interesting. But I got some great footage, and I had already seen 6 months before, I saw another tour, another production studio that they let go in and take some footage of there and interview some of the people. So I've already seen inside the facility and kind of knew where parts of things were. So when I went out behind the building to walk around the grounds down towards the Palace of Fine Arts, there were other statues as well. The father, Farnsworth, I think his name is, the guy that invented television, the ray tubes. Television, there's a statue of him. The father of movies in general, the guy that invented motion pictures, there's a wonderful statue of him as well. And many things that you'll see. When I was walking around the grounds, you'd look in, you could see offices with little R2-D2 models on the desk. So you know that you're in the presence of people that have something to do with special effects. You know it's all part of Industrial Light and Magic. There's a pedestrian bridge that crosses between the two big buildings that I walked completely around. And on that, you could see the silhouettes of some of the Jurassic Park models, some other models of helicopters and things that have been used in other big special effects films, some of the masks and helmets and what have you that are used in some of the Star Wars things. And I remember seeing a video walking on that walkway, and I go, oh, that's the walkway with all of those models flanking either side with the frosted glass. So I got some zoomed in and got some pictures of some of that stuff. So it was great. I mean, you can only see so much. They even had a Starbucks coffee there, and they even had like a little Yoda thing drawn on there for obviously the employees that work there at Industrial Light Magic. They want to go in there and get their lattes and what have you. And I got an ice blended drink. It's one of the few things that I like from Starbucks. Their coffee I find very bitter. I'm not a big fan of the coffee, but once in a while I'll get one of their their ice blended Frappuccino things. They're actually pretty good. So it was a very eventful day. We had a wonderful breakfast down at the Cliff House in San Francisco earlier that morning. Beautiful place right on the cliffs of San Francisco, facing due west, kind of north, kind of maybe not so much north of the Golden Gate. It would be more more kind of west, kind of slightly southwest of the Golden Gate Bridge, facing, kind of out over the ocean. We had a wonderful breakfast there, and then later from there we made ourselves into the Presidio, kind of, figured out how to get there in a really roundabout way. And then after we pretty much exhausted our time there, I saw pretty much everything that I could film and see. We headed over to Sausalito for lunch and drove across the beautiful Golden Gate Bridge. I never get tired of one of my favorite landmarks, and San Francisco in general is one of my favorite cities. Ironically, when I got home, my friend of Angry Centaur Gaming did a wonderful, I think it was like an hour and a half preview. He recently was in San Francisco, and sent me a PM. Hey Dean, I'm going to be over in that area. Unfortunately, I'm only for one day. I'm with a bud, and we're going to head back. But I will be in your area soon to see you and hang out and visit. But I thought you might like to know that I'll be showing some footage of a game soon, and which it was, and that was the Watch Dogs 2, which takes place in San Francisco. And ironically, the restaurant that we went to is called the Trident Restaurant in Sausalito. It's one of the premier older historic places. I mean, Janis Joplin, a lot of famous 60s, hippie culture type, counterculture people have eaten in that restaurant. It's been there forever. It's an old, wonderful old restaurant. Still has a lot of that old restaurant charm and kind of 60s hippie culture look to it inside, very dark and wood and everything. Well, actually have that restaurant, it's been changed quite a bit, but they have the restaurant and the restaurant that's next to it on two short piers are in the Watch Dogs 2, and my Angry Centaur Gaming friend that did the gameplay. And I pointed that out in the comments. I said, I think it's an hour and 21 minutes into it. That restaurant that you guys were having fun with was one of the ones that we just visited, so which I thought was interesting. So I'm still on the fence as to Watch Dogs 2. I don't know if I'll get it or not. I think they did a great job portraying San Francisco, very much like they portrayed Los Angeles with GTA 5. I think that aspect of it's wonderful. And I might get the game based on that alone. It would be a really fun open world to explore. They've compressed parts of it. Parts of Sausalito are accurate, and some parts of it, the distance is unrealistic. The Coast Guard Center down under the bridge, many of those areas are very accurate and look very close to how it looks in real life. So I'm impressed with what I've seen on that. I'm just to the whole heavy hipster thing, and the premise of hacking is just not something I'm into. I hate hacking mini games, and I'm just not big. I mean, I'll do the ones in the James Bond games, with the watches and some of the hacking mini games are fine, as it kind of fits that theme of James Bond. But I'm just not. It's not my thing. That's why I passed on the first Watch Dogs. But it does look very good, and you can watch his wonderful. My friend, Carrick, Angry Centaur Gaming, did a wonderful preview of it. Shows quite a good, kind of like a walking the walk, where he walks around the city and commandeers vehicles and just talks about, the ambient sounds and the people and how they react to you and the environment, things like that. The minutia of the game, which I found was fascinating. So I'll have a link for that video down below as well if you're interested, because it does look like a pretty interesting game. So it was one of those bucket trip weekends that I really enjoyed. It was very, very enjoyable. When I came back, I stopped, and I haven't bought a new Xbox game in quite a while. I went to my place. This is one of the games I've been looking for, is the original Mercenaries, where in my last video I just talked about Pandemic Studios. I realized, God, I don't even have a Mercenaries game for my original Xbox. And I think there's a Mercenaries 2 for the original Xbox, and it's also on the Xbox 360. So I'm going to try to find the Xbox 360 of the sequel of this, if that's what it is. But this is a wonderful studio. This is Pandemic Studios right here. Another little logo here. Great studios. They did the Saboteur and Destroy All Humans 1 and 2. A fantastic studio that's so sad to see them closing their doors. So to kind of honor them, I was anxious to get this for my collection. I found a really clean, complete copy of it with the booklet and a mint disc and the whole deal. I'm so happy to have this. I've been still playing Mafia 3 after they did that first big patch last Monday. I finally started playing it, and I'm getting deeper into it. I'm really having a lot of fun with this, enjoying it. And I'm really enjoying the Duke Nukem 3D. A wonderful, wonderful game. I really had a lot of fun with this. A really good value for $20 considering all of the extra commentary that you get now, which is very insightful as to how they made the game and why they did some of the levels the way they did and what have you. 8 extra new levels, and all the Duke Nukem attitude. I kind of hope they're working on a new one, but we'll see. But that's pretty much it with my gaming right now. It's been kind of a busy week. I'm trying to get at the gaming when I can. There's so many new games out. I'm dying to play this new Battlefield 1 solo campaign. Really looks good. I'm really excited. Some people say it can be beaten in 4 or 5 hours, which probably translates into 6 or 7 hours for me. I'm slow. I'm the type where I really like to check out all the environments, go to the outer perimeters of the levels, see how far extensively you can go around each of the levels. So it looks good. It looked like they dumbed down the flight controls of it considerably, which I'm not a big fan of. I prefer slightly more realistic flight controls in some of those levels, but it's kind of a glorified tutorial for the multiplayer, which I'm not into. So right now I can't rationalize spending the money on new games. There's so many coming out. I mean, right now I already had the Tomb Raider one reserved or pre-ordered, and I haven't even picked it up. I just haven't had the money for it. And the same thing with Battlefield, and then got this, Watch Dogs 2, I think, coming out in November. I'll have to pass on that too, probably. So I'm pretty much maxed out. I mean, Mafia 3 probably is the only game I can afford for a new game right now this year. And I'm going to be, I'll have quite a bit of weeks and months of enjoying that in the meantime. There's a new Titanfall 2 game that looks pretty good. At least this one has a solo campaign. To me, it's still a multiplayer game. I'm not into the wall running and jumping and all that stuff. But if you like that kind of thing and you want more of the same from what you had from the last one, I know the last one was pretty well received. It looks like a good game. It'll be interesting to see what other games. I'm waiting for most of my games are coming out next year. So we'll see on that. Still looking for a good racing game. I'm still waiting to see on those. But I've been kind of refining my other bucket list as going through the games that I'm wanting to get for my collections. I'm trying to whittle it down. Initially, I had like another 100 games I want to get for the original Xbox, and I go, realistically, could I afford all these games? Will I realistically play them? So I've whittled that list down to less than like 50 now of ones that I'm absolutely committed to getting. So that's my biggest list. I do have maybe another 20, 25 Xbox 360 games and PS3 games. I'm pretty much wrapping up what I want. I only spend like less than 5% of my income on gaming. I have a very tight list. So I mean, very little of it I put towards gaming. All my money goes for car insurance and my mortgage payments and my wife's car payment and going out to eat and things like that. So what's left over is like that 5%. If I have a little bit of money within that 5%, that's what I use to buy usually new DVDs or Blu-rays or video games. So that's why it's been cut way back. I went from taking 10% of my income down to 5% the last year or so. So I can go out today and finish my collection of. I got enough money in there. I could buy every game from my collection or every new game coming out. But for me, with the world and the uncertainty of the economic future, with this election and everything going on, I have to really be careful with my money. And the winter is coming up. I have to be really careful. The winter time as my work slows down and then I'm not able to make that much income at all. So I have to make the most with my purchases. The new Mad Max High Octane Edition does look pretty good. Now they've got one that has a great little car statue of Max's Interceptor and this interesting little heavy pedestal. It looks cool, but for $200 and some odd, I can't rationalize it. I'll have to pass on that. And as I just recently bought all of the Mad Max Blu-rays, I'll have to probably pass on the High Octane Edition as well. But I will get the black and chrome one. May or may not come with a 4K Blu-ray. What I may do is I may buy that one where you get the 4K copy as well as the black and chrome, so that down the road, if I do, since I already have the movie, the regular peasant viewing 1080p as well as the 3D version, at least I'll have get something for it. So when I do get an Xbox One S or down the road, I probably will get a 4K Blu-ray player. At least I know that's one movie that I definitely would like to watch in a better format, like 4K on my TV. So we'll see. So there's a few other Shout Factory, movies that I want to get to. Exorcist 3, they got a new director's version of that with extra footage found. I really would like to see that. Would be cool. There's always some great new. I think there's a new Thing Blu-ray as well with the movie The Thing. Shout Factory with probably new interviews and commentary, stuff like that. So I have to pick and choose. Sometimes I'll buy movies, depends on the mood I am. Lately I've been buying a lot of jazz CDs and kind of rounding out my CD collection. I've got pretty much almost everything I want for my music collection, so I'm kind of finishing it up and then getting a few movies, and then I wait and I just get the very best games that I'm interested in, the games that I want to support. This Hangar 13, I think, did an outstanding job on this Mafia 3, and I love the franchise so much I wanted to support it, so that was my little bit for supporting that. The same thing with the Duke Nukem 3D. I definitely want another one, and so I'll do everything I can to support Gearbox and Randy Pitchford and his efforts to try to move this forward. If we can ever get another Duke Nukem game, it would be great to have, but we'll see. It's kind of one of those wish list type deals. So let me know in the comments. Do you have any kind of like a bucket list, whether it's something that relates to your game collection, your movie collection, something that you'd like to see that's been a big part of your life? Maybe it's a place you'd like to go, something you've always wanted to see. I'd like to know. Put that down in the comments. What are your favorite bucket list items? You have list like 2 or 3 of them, of things that would doesn't have to relate to gaming. It might, but go ahead and put that in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, because I realize that as the world is going on, as I'm getting older, there's just the uncertainty of the economics, and just with all the wars breaking out and the looming threats of even another nuclear war, World War III. I mean, now more than ever, I really appreciate and value my friends and those within harmony, within my circle of influence, and my good friends, whether it's on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook, the people that I want to reach out to, or what I consider my friends, people of like-minded, that we like the same things. We like the same video games, even if it's different genres. We like movies, we like a lot of the fun pop culture stuff that it takes your mind off from politics, takes your mind off from the worries of the world and economics and all that. That's why we like to escape to movies and video games and what have you. So I'm trying to really focus on the positive and focus on the things that I want and that I cherish the most. And right now, it's the little things. It's the video games, and it's movies, and collecting old retro games. That it means so much to me. I'm going to enjoy the time I have left with these little things. They're big things at the end of the day, because they're the reason why I keep working. The reason why I keep going on is not just to, it's to live comfortably and to try to live in a nice environment and to have a sense of security, saving for the future. That's very important. But you want to be happy in the now, not someday. And for years, I always had these huge bucket lists. And then finally I realized that, if I don't take the time and go out of my way and make these things happen and pursue these dreams and goals and bucket list items, they're not going to happen on their own. So that's kind of what I've been doing. And there's not too many left. I pretty much have seen and done. I've had all the cars I've wanted. I've traveled, been to most of the cities. I still would like to go to Hawaii. That's one of the few bucket list items I really have left on my list. There's very few items left. I've pretty much visited most of the places I've wanted to go and see. And but let me know anyway in the comments how you feel. What things would you like to do? What are the things that mean the most to you in life? Whether it's your video games, your time with your family, relaxing, watching a favorite movie, what have you. Let me know in the comments. And just remember, be kind to one another. It's always important as to who's right, but it's what's right. Let's work towards keeping a harmony in our hobby. Let's keep politics and troubling, bickering out of it. And let's just focus on the commonalities and the things that we love within this wonderful community, because that's the only reason why I'm in it. It's just for the like-minded friendship. And I've met so many wonderful friends through my little YouTube channel, through Facebook, through Twitter, and it's wonderful. It makes me feel great that I can reach out and be a part of other people's worlds that share the same things. A lot of us like and want the same things in life, and to me, that's what it's all about. So, thanks for watching, guys, and enjoy your games and enjoy your time with your loved ones, doing the things that you really enjoy doing, because to me, that's really what it's all about. Thanks for watching.